Okay.
Look at the temperature is in here. Feels a little colder.
Yeah.
How much? 'Cause it's humid. Whew. You guys hanging in there for your first week and a half?
Yeah.
Is it harder than you thought it would be, or a lot easier than you thought it would be?
It's a lot easier.
That's
It's
good.
in high school. Yeah.
High school can be harder sometimes.
That's it. I don't know, the format of this school is like the format of my high school.
That's
It feels-
good.
Yeah, it feels a little weird. Feels like I never left Central.
Which high school did you go to?
Westerville Central,
And which city again?
Columbus, Ohio.
Okay. And then you have 5 classes, right?
Mhm.
So you have like 2 today and 3 tomorrow, or how does that?
I have 2 today, 2 tomorrow as well. Because my English teacher, we don't have any quizzes yet, so we don't have any online stuff yet.
Okay, right. So yeah, sometimes it feels better familiar with like doing high school, like you can do it, you know you can pass and succeed. Sometimes that's annoying and boring, so you're like, do I even want to do this? And, that's why today I'm just doing a quick self-care discussion, and then we're calling it a day. Because I didn't need to do my own yoga and stretches this morning, so I got a knee surgery, and I don't do enough of like exercises and stretches I'm supposed to do to like make it work. And I'm gonna try to do them. You guys do anything for self-care?
For Mr. Oh yeah, we did. I didn't even hear about English. Yeah, I said right next to you. If I don't have my contacts in, everything's a blur. Cause I'm not gonna fake that entire class yesterday. Blurred. Wow. Like I was just seeing spots. I was just going with the flow.
It's hard to see stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But my contacts scratch my eyes and my glasses, they don't have the right prescriptions. So.
Okay. Ah, there we go. It's even a little bigger. Self-care is one that I do. If you have me in class again, I'll talk about it again. Because, oh yeah, I forgot. It reads off what I say. I hate that it does that.
I was just looking at them.
I know.
I was too.
I don't really know how, but sometimes it's right. Most of the time it's okay. But self-care, you guys may have gotten some of it in high school, maybe you didn't. Like maybe you had like a good gym teacher that did yoga and like made you stretch, or you were like, hi, good morning. And maybe you maybe you've never done self-care, and that's okay. So, anybody in here done self-care before? Yeah. Well, tell me about it. Sometimes it helps to have new ideas too, because you get sick of the old ones.
That could be like healthcare to me, could be like doing my hair or like.
Right, yes, because we're actually going to get into that later on. So I always like to see what people do for self-care first and then go through the PowerPoint. So at least having something, that's going to be your key, because otherwise we'll burn out. Hello. Especially in social work. Because you all have like 5 different classes, right? You either have 5 or 6, 15 or 16 hours, right?
Yeah, that's 16. Yeah, that's 16.
And then you'll have your like hardest one. I guess it could be scheduled at any time.
What's supposed to be our hardest class?
It depends on your major too. Are you guys all different majors? Again, I feel like you are. Or are you all social work majors?
I'm social work.
Okay. Okay. I know we had a few psych education and what else, but I would say this is a weird way to put it, but the hardest thing in college is showing up for 3 years and 8 months until you finish every single day, staying healthy and staying on pace. So like prioritizing your stuff, because always at the beginning of the semester, like, oh, I don't have anything. It's all at the end, and I can do it next week. And then next week comes, you're like, oh, I can do it like the night before. This is an easy paper. And then there's 5 classes that you're trying to do the night before. So that's when I get stressed out. You know, like I would put off, like, I'll do it later, mañana. We'd always say that in Nicaragua. So the hardest is just like, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. You know, you're going to have stuff every semester, every day, and every month. And field is 12 hours. Have you guys been told about field yet? So basically in field, you learn how to be a social worker at a social work agency. Columbus or Wilberforce or Xenia. So you go like into a place to learn how to be a social worker. And that's 12 credit hours or like 400 total hours. So that's your junior or senior year. Usually people do it senior year. That's a hard class because again, you got to show up every day. It's like a job, and you don't always have a stipend for it. Like I got mileage for driving, but that was about it. So social welfare policy and like child and social welfare people find harder. But so in self-care, we start out with a cute quote. It's about losing sight of the self. And it's a long quote. And I'll put it up, send it out on day2 for you guys. But you'll lose the sight of yourself. In the theater of life, it says the other becomes illuminated. The lives of others, their hopes, their dreams, their ideas, their goals, pains, fears, despair, and anger, and focus, and then like a leaf under a microscope. We see all this in a highly illuminated detail. As a counseling therapy, teaching, or health practitioner,
Okay.
the other person gets our attention. So, like when you're a social worker, you're always working with people. Thank you. I think I have that noise for one too. I always mix them up. I'm like, I'm gonna try to make a different one that no one else has. So basically, yes, we do work, help others, help the homeless, feed the hungry, help the poor, but you gotta take care of you. Like, if we don't take care of us first, we will burn out. That's kind of like the gist of it. So it says, out of the illuminated microscope, we easily lose sight of our own needs, like the needs not to respond to all needs. You know, like every single text message I get, do I have to reply right away? Or every email, do I have to reply right away? Because I'll burn out if I do. It's like, it can wait a half an hour. I can talk to them later. So in this presentation, we talk about secondary traumatic stress, compassion fatigue, burnout, stressors, and prevent that is self-care. So right here, self-care, I think the pen exploded somewhere. Hopefully it's not all over me, but it happens. So also nurturing the self. So how do we do that? And that's where I say, like, usually I ask you guys first, like, what do you do for self-care? And just come up with some ideas. Oh yeah, the mask is ready. I could draw a picture of my mask. Anything you guys do for self-care? Anything. Yeah. Yeah, journaling's good. I think that's even included in here. Journaling is very good. Other ideas? Okay, yeah, for sure. And you guys have exercise science class here? Like swimming or yoga. I think you can take yoga as a class. I might be wrong. They have yoga every Wednesday at our human resources. All right, if you think of anything, we're going to go through it, but I always like to hear what you guys do first. And if the silence means you aren't doing anything for self-care, definitely write some things down, because nowadays you guys have like 20 times the distractions I do. We didn't even have, I don't even think we had computers. I know that sounds insane, but like to write a paper, I had to go what they call the computer lab, because there was no laptops, there was no Wi-Fi, there was no texting. So like all the distractions you have during class, we had to pass a note. You know, you guys can, you know, talk about it all day. And if you succeed, you know, texting throughout the class or whatever, that's good. But, you know, I guess I'll speak for myself. I think I would not pass with all the distractions you guys have nowadays, because it's just harder, you know. It's hard to like stay focused as a social worker, be focused on the job and work with people, and not like text a friend while you're in the middle of a session, and just like be present, you know, just be there. So preventing burnout, one of the things that comes up is our secondary traumatic stress or compassion fatigue. So the first one is vicarious trauma. So it's a set of symptoms that may occur in individuals experiencing trauma or crisis. You'll hear a lot of people's stories as a social worker, and they can be challenging to hear sometimes. So the symptoms mirror post-traumatic stress disorder exhibited by the individual experiencing direct trauma. The symptoms include flashbacks, nightmares, anxiety, even hyperactivity or avoidance, like numbing or dissociation. You know, just like not being there. Maybe you're on your phone the whole time and just not paying attention, something like that. Other compassion fatigue symptoms. You may experience some of these. So like avoidance, numbing reminders of the traumatic events. It could be persistent arousal, intrusive thoughts or images of clients that you'll talk to different clients, or your own traumatic experience that come up when in session. Difficulty separating work from personal life. So again, like if you're on the phone all the time or texting a boyfriend or girlfriend and you're at your job, sometimes the supervisor gets upset, and maybe they won't, you know. Sometimes it's hard to give your full attention to them because we're so in on the phone, like, oh, my significant other's texting me, I gotta write them back, or we're in a fight, we gotta respond. Lowered frustration tolerance, increased countertransference. And that's a big word. I had to have it explained to me even in graduate school. Anybody know what countertransference is? It's a tough one. It's when you're working with others as a social worker, and like the stress and trauma of all their problems starts affecting you. So like you hear about the fights they have with their boyfriend, or an argument they got in with their parents, and you hear about maybe the events or situation, and it's even stressful to you, like you want to stop it, and you have no control over it. So countertransference is one. Depression is one, you know, something that comes up a lot. They say, I don't know if you guys have heard this, students nowadays are 2 or 3 times more likely to have depression during coronavirus. Have you guys heard any of those stats? Mm-hmm. And it's just because it's different. We were talking about, I don't think you guys had prom. You had an electronic prom, or you had masks at prom. Did you guys have prom?
I had prom.
Did you? Was it live and for real? Like,
Oh, most definitely.
That's
and
good.
We didn't wear no mask.
Okay, good. So it was the year before that didn't have it, I guess, right?
No, it was some people this year as well. My school, right?
Okay, right. So that's some of the stuff. What's causing depression, or like you have to meet somebody now. You got to meet them online. You know, that used to be like the old-fashioned way of meeting somebody Well, did you guys ever have to pass notes in class? I guess you just text back and forth.
No, I didn't.
No, we
Did you?
those took you fun.
Is that because they like took your phones or something, or
No,
what?
it was like elementary and middle school.
Okay. So you didn't have because we didn't have Wi-Fi or text messages until 2004, and I finished graduate school in 2004. So I had a beeper in 1997, but then I lost it because I was drinking at a party. So that's one of the self-cares that we don't want to get into. Like, obviously at 21, you're allowed to have a drink, you can unwind at a party. But if your only self-care is drinking and smoking, you might want to look at that. You know what I mean? Like, that's something to consider, especially in a helping profession. It's like, I'm so stressed out, I got to go home and drink and smoke. It's like, we can find something else to take care of us. There's also, that we're getting right into that. Ineffective or self-destructive, self-soothing behaviors. It could be drinking, smoking, eating, gambling, video games. I don't know if that's still a big thing. Does video games take over anybody's? I know it got big for a little bit, but maybe that disappeared with coronavirus. Maybe it got worse with coronavirus. I don't know. So the self-soothing behaviors, again, all of those things are fine in moderation, but like when they take over our lives and we can't get to our jobs and we are distracted at work because of it, that's when like it's diagnosable or whatever, like they even added a video game addiction diagnosis in the DSM-5. I never had thought or heard of that because I had Nintendo growing up and stuff like that, but that was, I don't know. I feel like video games are different now. Where you're like, you can even talk to the person you're playing or fighting with or whatever. We didn't have that. Like this voice to text crap. I still don't know how to turn it off, but there it is. It tries to say every word I say, but I probably don't articulate perfect. Sometimes decreased feelings of work competence, diminished sense of purpose or enjoyment in your career, loss of hope, helplessness, and confusion. So that's when you can get burnout. And that's why I say all those things are avoidable if we have some self-care set up, like doing self-care. So it says, while compassion fatigue or secondary traumatic stress occurs, when people living with others experience trauma, burnout refers to exhaustion from emotionally demanding work. So you see homeless people, you work at a homeless shelter every day and it's getting worse because of, I think the COVID restrictions on evictions were extended, but that could come up soon. We're like, if you don't have the rent or mortgage payment, there will be evictions. And so that would be burning a lot of people out that work at homeless shelters. People who are burned out will experience depleted energy and decreased effectiveness. So like you're going to bed early and you're still tired when you wake up. And it's like starting to notice burnout. This week it could be heat exhaustion. Here's some of your burnout symptoms. So negative self-concept and attitudes toward work or school. Like I'm already done with this and it's a week and a half in school. Boredom. You'll have errors and accidents at work, like maybe writing up your papers or paperwork as a social worker. You write up the wrong thing. Impatience or irritability. Physical depletion, tiredness, pain, headaches, even illness, because your immune system goes down when you're stressed out. I'm sure that you guys have heard that before. When you're stressed, your immunity is lower and you get sick more. Feelings of helplessness or hopelessness, withdrawing from relationships and isolation, or even grandiosity. Anybody know what grandiosity is? I know it's another one of them words I had to look up. If I'm grandiose, like I think I'm the bomb, I think I'm the shit, I can do everything, I can do whatever, and I'm the best at it. You know what I mean? Like that's grandiosity. And that can be problematic. It's good to have high self-esteem, but then when it shifts over to grandiosity, that's when it can be a problem because, I always have to answer to a supervisor. And
So that doesn't mean you think you're high.
you think you're like amazing and nobody can like tell you what to do. Does that did you say high or hot? I didn't.
High, like you're above everyone else.
Right. Which, again, a good self-esteem is fine. Like feeling good about yourself is one thing, but we all have supervisors in the field of social work. Even I answer to somebody. So we have a licensing board, so we all have to answer to the licensing board. But when I start thinking I'm the best over all of them, that's when it's a problem. So we're almost halfway through this, so I'm promising you we're done after this because it's a hot day and we are just doing self-care today. And then, yeah, you do have your paper next week, so if you had questions on that, or just are getting it done. So here's bad self-care. So these are the deadly dozen. This is from the dude, I can't pronounce his name, who researched that in 2001. So it's been 20 years, but they're still the same. So you can have toxic friends and colleague support. Anybody here have toxic friends or had them before? You got to make sure. Okay. So you got to make sure to cleanse yourself. And that can be hard because they'll keep coming back. They will make sure that if it's real toxicity, they'll find you and pound your door and text you a bunch and say how messed up you are and all that. And don't believe it. Just carry on. You know, we do our self-care. We're good social workers. If you have little fun, so you don't do enough, and then I like this, it gives playfulness, humor, and laughing in life or in work. So like you have fun at your job too, you know, like you can have fun with your colleagues. And sometimes the sarcasm can be taken to extreme high level, but you need to have that humor to get through some dire situations. This is a big one for when you're in field, because you'll get a field contract. It's called fuzzy, inarticulated understanding of your own needs. So if I don't know what's causing, you know, like if I'm not hydrated and I'm tired all the time, or I'm not eating enough vegetables and I wonder why I have less energy. So we get our energy from our food and vitamins, not just coffee, which I drink a lot of. So also in the field, you get a contract, and in your field contract, it tells you what you're going to do. Just like in school, you get a syllabus. That's your contract. That tells you what you have to do for class, how you pass, and get an A. And so if that's unclear, it can make things stressful. Also, no professional development. So you have to have trainings at work that tell you what you're supposed to do. No energy-giving personal life. So if you're always going home and putting out fires, or they even say the sandwich generation, if you have kids or even nieces and nephews that you're always taking care of, and you also have to take care of your elderly parents, like mine are 75 and 76. I also have 2 kids. They call that the sandwich generation because you're like in the middle and taking care of both mom and dad and your kids. That can be stressful. To make sure a lot of self-care when you have that. Inability to say no to unreasonable requests. So anybody in here have a hard time saying no to things? So just, you know, keep an eye on that. Like sometimes that can be okay in work, but even in work it can be bad because you agree to do so many things, you can't do it all in a 40-hour week. So you burn yourself out. So you gotta like learn how to say, hi boss, thank you for like giving me these things to do. But I only have 40 hours in a week that I'm paid for. And they may say, I've heard this before too. Well, your salary, you might have to work 45 hours. And it's like, I also have to do my self-care. And so like, if you could give me a little bit more time. It is hard when you're a new social worker or even new at any job. You want to be like, yes, I'm awesome at this. I'll do great. Hello. Also, personal relationships that are predominantly one way. So they're one-way caring relationships with self as giver. So if you are the only one given in your relationships, you need to watch out for that. You know, like you might burn out. If you're the only one doing everything, like it's the, you know, it's not like a reciprocity friendship, you know. Make sure to watch out for that. Constant perfectionism in work tasks. So none of us is perfect, knowing that like your notes at the job and social work won't be perfect. Your papers might not be perfect, and that's okay. If you want to send it to me and have me look it over before you turn it in, you can do that. You know, like those are things that I do. Yeah.
Through email.
Right. Either one. I think email will come to my phone. D2, I still only know how to get it on the computer. I don't think the app works with it or the crowd. Does the app work for anybody?
It works for me.
It works for me.
Like, can you turn stuff in through it?
No, it's like they don't. Some of the teachers don't know. Some we don't. Like they just be putting stuff on there. They don't know how to.
I still don't really know how to work it, but I use assignments. That's where you turn your major assignments, discussions, and then announcements. So I try to keep it real simple. Like the syllabus is on there at the start of class. I do assignments, discussions, and then the announcements are so you can. I'll film the YouTube live of the class, and then that's where you can watch it if you get coronavirus. Anybody else in the dorms getting COVID yet? I guess we'd all have it if like one person got it, but that's part of self-care too. So just like, again, taking your 3 vitamins and 3 supplements that kill COVID, which is B, C, and D, elderberry, colloidal silver, and chaga, the chaga mushroom pills. Continual unresolved, ambiguous professional losses. So that's really a weird way to put it. But even if you have personal losses, so like professional losses would be like if your supervisor keeps on changing, you can see there's burnout at your job. In your personal life, if you have a lot of losses of friendships, not just people passing away, but like maybe you have to kick a toxic person out for the time being until they get their stuff together, so to speak. That's okay, but find a way to tell them that with using nonviolent communication without being like, I hate you, you suck, and you're a piece of crap. You know, use different language, just like, I hope you get yourself together, I love you, and I want you to be well. A strong need to be needed, so that can be toxic because you're like always trying to please, and you going along with not being able to say no. Anybody a people pleaser in here, and that's common in social workers. We want to be people pleasers, but again, I got to take care of me before I take care of anybody else. Like if I don't do my own self-care, I'm going to burn out and crash and burn. And so it's important to do self-care. Professional success is defined solely by clients or student successes or patient positive change or appreciation. Like if you have to always hear good stuff about yourself, it's something to work on. It's okay at first, but like we don't need to have those affirmations all the time. It is good to have them some of the time. And one final thing we added in when we made this presentation is a right finance is a key to wellness. I know as a college student, it's really hard. I don't even know if you guys are able to get like a spending money or allowance or anything. Like you get, you know, you have to really watch your finances, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, how do you do it? You go find we used to get a bunch of free crap like pizza, but I don't know if they do that. Do they do free food anywhere anymore? Like clubs and first Tuesday of the month, they actually do have a truck that comes from Dayton that hands out a whole bunch of vegetables, frozen foods, even like pastries and breads and sometimes eggs and fruits and vegetables. And that's like the first Tuesday, which I guess is next week, the 31st on Tuesday, or is it the next week? So it's probably in 2 weeks we're going to have that truck come. You'll see it on the main area handing out fruits and vegetables, which is nice. So it's important to keep all your expenses and financial obligations. Well, like the bill too. Do you guys get your bill yet for school, or like, you know, whatever you owe? Do they say what you owe yet, or is that not finalized?
All I know is I'm paying $20,000.
Any student loans with it? So anybody know what the maximum student loans is you're allowed to take out? I only know because I ended up taking it out. It's $250,000 for education. So with interest, I owe $290,000, and that's what, again, where it's important to really keep track of your finances because, you know, school is expensive, graduate school. So our in-state tuition is $20,000 a semester now, or $20,000 a year. Okay.
I might be wrong. It is a semester.
So again, the school thing is expensive. I ended up paying, I at least borrowed $250,000 to finish my doctorate, which took 8 years. My master's degree took 3 years, and my bachelor's took 5. So don't take 5 with it. Maybe 4.5, but not 5. Because it is expensive. I think in undergrad though, you're only allowed to borrow freshman year $5,000, sophomore year $7,000, junior year like $8 or $9,000, senior year $10,000. So they kind of keep a cap on it. In grad school, they give you $21,000 a year. So that's where it's expensive. So there's a lot of info online to track the finances and all that stuff. There's scholarships. Anybody find the undergraduate scholarships yet? There's a lot of websites with tons of money for undergrads. I think Central gave our students a small check last year if you're registered by a certain amount of time. So keep an eye out for that. Now here's how this is how you do your self-care. So emptying the cup. On a day like this, you have to empty your water because you're sweating it all out simultaneously while you're drinking it. So to empty your cup, imagine yourself as a cup. This is an exercise. So if you're able to pay attention for the exercise and imagine for a second, imagine you're a cup. You spend your day hearing the stories of others, being with them in their pain and joy. You also have your own stories and your own pain and joy. Eventually your cup becomes full. Some days it is overflowing. You feel that you can't hear one more story of pain. You might snap at a loved one. We get pissed at our parents usually because they're like the closest in our life. You might snap at a loved one or feel like sleeping all day as you're like exhausted or burnt out. Self-care is what you do to empty your cup. It's critical that you empty your cup every day so that you can re-engage in life and your work in an effective and healthy day. So we've got to do it every day. For me, I just had knee surgery, so it's like stretches. I have to stretch. I have to do the yoga. I have 2 kids under 14 months right now, so my back goes out all the time as I'm 43 years old. As I'm like picking up. They always want to be picked up because they're like freaking down here. And they're like, hey, you. So they always want to be held like up high. So I have to do a lot of stretches. This next picture shows it. So here's some ideas of what you can do, and you guys might already do this for self-care. Empty your cup. So take a long walk, meditate, pray, talk with a friend, listen to music, take a bath, play with animals, ride a bike, sit in the sun. That's where you get vitamin D. Eat lunch outside. Again, being healthy. Some of you might paint. At night you can look at the stars. Garden, which we do have some gardening opportunities here, and even a greenhouse, so indoors for the winter. Drink tea, dance, draw, journal, cook, read, smell flowers, jog, which I can't do after surgery. I used to train for the marathons, and now I just walk. So walk 30 to 60 minutes a day, or at least a half an hour. Just do a lap around campus. You might see me doing that for my own self-care. Get a pedicure, do some yoga, play soccer, lay in the grass, stretch, or go to church or temple, play a game, laugh, and then swim. Anything you guys do that's not on that list, I guess we'll get back to it. Sleep, that's definitely a good one. Then you notice drink is not on here. Drink tea is on here, but drink vodka is not. Because that actually, for like the temporary relief that could bring, maybe a night's relief of drinking, the next day can be harder. So you gotta nurture yourself. There's a few of these ideas, and like I said, we'll be done at the end of the PowerPoint here so you guys can get going because it's hot today. So Scovold discussed multiple overlapping. So the emotional self, you've got to do things to process your emotions, seek therapy when necessary. Anybody, we have free counseling here at Central State University. It is across the street, so you see, I don't know if that shop's ever been, it says college shop here. If you go there, it's called the Community Health Center. So you walk across there and go in, that's where the concept services. If you're stressed out, it is okay to go to see somebody. It should be free access. They'll connect you with resources. Again, the financial self comes up because we can quickly dig ourselves a hole in college and have too much debt. I'm an example of that. I got too much. Luckily, I'm signed up for it's called Student Loan Forgiveness, Public Service, loan forgiveness, and then income-based repayment plan. So you pay 10 or 15% of your income to your student loans, and it's forgiven after 10 years working as a social worker in a social work agency, which I did for a long time. To be when you're done with school or teaching in a public university. Financial self, learning good financial management skills.
Would you build a website for a major brand?
It can be expensive, particularly in a field where pay may be low. So sometimes you have to do side jobs like building a website for a major brand or something that comes up. Side jobs are okay. In social work, you get a lot of side jobs you can do. Like I worked PRN for Lighthouse, PRN, which means per requested need, like 3 clients a week at Ohio Mentor, and now at Crossroads Hospice. Humorous self, learning to use humor appropriately in the workplace, where serious and often sad, painful issues are being dealt with. The loving self, developing and attending a genuine loving relationships that provide support. Empathetic people often have a tendency to give love. So we're taking care of others, especially as social workers, rather than focusing on getting love. So you need that reciprocity in your relationships. Give love, get love. Give love, get love. It's a back and forth. Nurturing self. So you're nutritious, listening to your body, develop good nutritional habits, sustain and nourish your body. Eat more vegetables, drink more water. That's kind of my mantra. Is like whatever you're doing, add the water in, and when I eat more vegetables, I eat less junk because I fill myself up with broccoli. Or something that tastes good. Are there any vegetables that taste good actually?
I like spinach.
Asparagus? That's it. Do they do that in the calf over here ever? Never.
Asparagus is good on the grill.
So like grilling that or putting it in ranch, or do they still deliver here from Walmart? I know that we said Amazon doesn't deliver, but can you order Walmart groceries here? Still.
My friend tried it, it worked.
It didn't work? Really?
Yeah, I wouldn't let her add stuff into her cart.
Oh, they put weird stuff in?
Yeah, she was trying to order something, I think a drink, a pineapple drink or something like that, and it wouldn't let her add it to the cart. Then she found the actual one to add it, and it said it didn't ship here.
I was going to say, they might not have it in stock at Xenia. How hard is it to get to the Xenia Walmart or whatever?
It's not hard, but they don't ever have anything in there.
Sure don't.
Yeah, it's always.
Where can you buy vegetables around here?
You can get Myers delivered DoorDash.
Oh, Meyer delivers.
DoorDash stuff.
I didn't even think about that. So okay. And then you need the free delivery part of it.
Yeah, you got to pay for that.
That's a good one. And then again, the first Tuesday of every month, they give out vegetables in that parking lot. So that will be not 2 weeks, but 10 days on September 7th, I feel like it would be. Because August 31st is next Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. It'll be September 6th or September 7th. They have a truck. All students and faculty are welcome. So that's nice. I forgot about DoorDash. So you're right. Meyer. I feel like Walmart does stuff at DoorDash though. Because I delivered DoorDash over the summer and I was picking up crap at Walmart. But you probably have to go to walmart.com and order it, and then it's delivered through DoorDash. Whereas Meyer is on DoorDash and you get fresh vegetables and fruits.
Well, I don't know if they do this year, but back at Minnesota, we have this thing called Shipt, and basically they deliver groceries from anywhere, like Target or
Okay.
well, never Walmart, but Target, Costco, y'all call it programs, but we have cooked food.
Okay,
So like, stuff like that, but I just like do it.
right. Well, now you're making me think, another one.
And we have Instacart too.
Instacart,
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking of. 'Cause my friend does that all the time with his wife. So anyway, nutritious and physical, developing a routine for physical activity, vigorous physical exercise has shown to reduce in stress. I quit running for 10 years. Like I was a cross country runner in high school. I quit for 10 years, but then when I had to write my dissertation, which is like big graduate school paper, it's a 155-page paper. I was so stressed out, I ran every single day. I trained for a whole marathon because I would run every day. So even if it's just a half an hour of getting your heart rate up, walking, something that's moving, your steps. I don't know if you guys have step counters on your phone anymore. Do they have those step things? So 8 to 10,000 steps. 10 is premier, that's like 4 miles a day. Playful self, having free time, enjoy life, engage in playful activities. Priority setting self, managing your time, identifying priorities, setting boundaries, nurturing yourself, and recreational. So engage in a hobby that provide stimulation. Anybody have hobbies here? I guess in college, your hobby is studying. It's worse in graduate school, but something that's like, I feel like they have free golf at Wilberforce. They have more green space across the street at Wilberforce. I know it's a far walk, but it really is across 42, like right over there. Relaxation and self-reduction self. So combating over-arousal, develop a relaxation response, such as deep breathing or meditation. Anybody ever done meditation? So there's an app for that. Which one? How did you do it? Did you have it in school?
So I did it at home.
Okay.
But at home, in my room, with like meditation candles. I have like stone.
Okay. That's awesome. So if you search apps, because I got a new phone, they have Headspace. They also have Calm. The one I use is the Insight Timer. I think is nicer because Mesmerize, that's one. Sleep hypnosis. I didn't know they had that. Oh gosh, you have to sign in to download stuff? Dang, man. How do you remember your password? I never remember that thing. Then it'll probably be like, we sent you a response to your other computer over there. So the Insight Timer I like because it'll give like, there's live ones going on and people that will do guided meditation to like, you know, walk through stuff that we're experiencing. Solitary, make sure to take time to be alone, which I know is hard if you have a roommate all the time. Even if it is, there are some woods you can walk into over here. So when I take a walk on campus, there's one, I think it was where Physical Plant dumps stuff, and then over by Wilberforce University, there's a bunch of trails and woods. I think there's the bike trail, so I guess you just walk the freaking bike trail. It cuts like right through here to Yellow Springs. Have you guys heard of Yellow Springs? All the hippies live in Yellow Springs, like 3 miles away from here. So if you just go literally 3 or 4 miles in that direction, it's like a hippie oasis. So you have people with the dreadlocks and long hair, like hanging out, eating vegan dishes. And it's kind of cool, but it's an expensive little part of town that all the hippies hang out in. And then spiritual and religious self. So attending beliefs that help you make meaning of the world and serve as a grounding force. So this was a meditation we had picked out of the 12 and 12. And some people just repeat the mantra. And this one is, it says, Lord, make me a channel of thy peace. Where there is hatred, I may bring love. Where there is wrong, I may bring the spirit of forgiveness. Where there is discord, I may bring harmony. Where there is error, I may bring truth. Where there is doubt, I may bring faith. Where there is despair, I might bring hope. Where there are shadows, I bring light. Where there is sadness, I bring joy. Lord, grant that I may seek rather to comfort, rather than be comforted, to understand rather than be understood, and then to love rather than be loved. For it's self-forgetting that one finds, and forgiving that one is forgiven. Dying, that one awakens to eternal life. So some people have a mantra like that. There's other meditation apps that we had mentioned here. I want to see if this one downloaded yet. It did. Our Wi-Fi doesn't suck today. So, I think now Apple hides your email from them, which is nice because I get thousands of junk email from these apps now. It's like annoying. What year were you born? 2021? If you could get on the phone and say you were born in 2021, like my son is 3 months old, that would be freaking hilarious. Or my daughter, 2022, that would be weird. So these are some of the books. Here's what I like to describe this though, is you gotta do all 4 of these. Oh, did it die? Did it just do that or is it? Holy shit, okay. So you wanna have all 4 of these to balance. You probably could get away with 3 if you think of it like a stool, but if you cut one of the legs off, you're gonna fall over and collapse. So think of, you wanna at least have 3 of these 4, really you wanna have all 4 to have perfect balance. So physical, intellectual, what you're doing for school, spiritual, and then emotional. So you wanna do self-care in all those areas. You might get away with skipping one of them for a little bit of time, but infuse that back in when maybe at the end of the semester, because sometimes it's hard to like get to church or temple. They make you pick stuff on the meditation app. You're not alone. Tap to continue. Scientific. So, dear goodness. All right. So yeah, they have live ones that you have to turn on push. Really? Come on. So like, there's all these people that might be in Alice Springs. He's got the cool looking dreadlocks. But like, you can hear their live meditations and like stuff that they're taking you through. And tax people only want cash or check, is what my wife just said. Gotta pay the tax man. I know you guys have to pay the tax person. Usually we only get, you know how you get a refund check and the tax people say they promise you they'll get you a bigger check, but then they take like a third of it. That's kind of what this guy's doing. He got us more, but we owe him $250. Yay. So basically here, and I'll try to get this into the discussion after your paper. I want you to focus on your papers this weekend, but I want you guys to at least think about a self-care plan. So develop a self-care plan. Using this information in your readings, you'll develop a self-care plan. Develop a self-care plan. Use that plan to prevent burnout and compassion fatigue. It can increase your ability to identify signs of stress, awareness of your own stress. Awareness of that stress level is critical. Is a critical component to be effective in social work practice. So that's the clinical practice. Here's where we found all this stuff and some readings on finances, like the 9 steps to financial freedom, the laws of money, women and money, the power to control your destiny. And then, oh, that's nice. They thanked us for making this PowerPoint. But any questions about self-care, about the paper, the class in general? I know I crushed through it to get you guys done in 45, and that's the beauty of being able to turn stuff in online. So that's the one good thing about D2L. As much as we might hate it, we can call it a hybrid class and finish fast. When it's 90 degrees, there's a small word. So think about your self-care plan. Anybody cold in this room? Like, I'm sweating bullets. It's like, it's so hot I'm gonna go. I bought this little piece of crap air conditioner that's like this big in my room up there. And you pour water in the top, and it just.
Put the ice in it too.
Oh, is that gonna make it? I didn't even think about that. So like cold water will make it colder. I just been putting it down. So it still works, but that would be better. I'll use my refrigerating water actually. I'll pour one of these and the refrigerator Brita, and then pour the Brita into that, so I don't sweat out and you guys get nauseous from watching me sweat. So no questions, no nothing. You promise you're good on your papers? I'm gonna throw that mask away as now it's bled through black from broken pen. Sign-in sheets here still, as I actually have to put that in tomorrow, so. They'll be like, who's still coming to class? Who do we have to take student loans away from? Because that's all I have for you guys, unless if you wanted to. I do have the video called The Line, and we'll do that next week. Several of the videos from, this is what the class looked like when it was Schoology. So anybody familiar with Schoology?
Yeah.
When we were in COVID, we had to do everything in discussion boards for attendance and all. So there is a discussion every week. Now we get to do it in person, but we'll still have one every 10 or 12 days. So
Do you post things on the discussion board?
I have one up right now.
Oh,
It probably doesn't send you guys a notification, which I hate that about day2. You have to go in and look at it. So if you go in, it's in discussions, and write and reply to somebody, you'll get credit for the discussion. But that is all I have. Enjoy your weekend. Do some self-care for real, it's getting hot. You gotta drink like 5 of these liters of water every day, at least.
You know how to try to get back there.
No, I think they're doing it so they don't have to empty them. They're all out in the bathroom or the hallway.
right.
They do that now, so there's only one to empty.
I emailed through my, I think just look over the market.
All right,
Have a
absolutely.
good one.
I'll look at it in my office.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know where that pen blew up, but hopefully it wasn't all over my clothes. Have a good one.
You said you got a paper injection?
Yes, Tuesday.
Okay, we're sending it out.
It is on D2L. So you go to assignments and then you can turn it in there too.
Okay.
Okay, I got a question.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't have nothing to do with the class.
That's okay.
It's still a college question.
Yeah, for sure.
So, if I wanted to take out a student loan, I have to pay the cash